What's up, family? Just another beautiful day, giving thanks and praise to Creator over you because of Him, or her to be. For me, I'm just loving life and making the best of it because it's very short. Anyway, folks, if you think that the US was bad before, it's going to get worse now because if the tourists stop coming here, that means that all those souvenir shops will close down. All those shops on Wall Street, all those shops on Times Square, the 7 souvenirs going to close down. All the restaurants that depend on tourists to come and eat food are going to close down. Here's a clip of how bad the tourist industry in America is getting. And it's going to get worse, folks. So save your money up. Don't spend your money stupidly. Just prepare yourself. Hang on, folks. America's tourism crisis nobody's talking about. Foreign visitors are abandoning the U.S. in record numbers. So y'all know them travel advisory reports that the United States loves to push out, right here, basically telling us to not go to certain places because they're violent or it's not safe. Yeah, so the Department of Commerce has now issued a report showing a growing list of countries advising their citizens to not come to the United States, to not come and visit the United States. Yeah. Now we are not the safe country. Australia, Canada, Germany, Denmark, France, the UK, and Finland all just issued travel advisory warnings against the United States. They don't think that it's safe for people from their country to travel to this hellhole, and they are absolutely right. Are we great yet? Is it cool when other countries are terrified of having their citizens visit here because they might end up in prison and maybe they'll get murdered in a U.S. prison like that Canadian did just a couple of weeks ago, which I'm sure everyone's already forgotten about because every day is full of so much terrible news we can't even keep up with it. Donald Trump's America absolutely balls. And any person who says that they really like it right now is the kind of person who enjoys living in terror. There's some number of people who really enjoy authoritarianism, but I have to tell you guys a secret here. Nobody ends up doing great in an authoritarian regime. Exactly. Nobody ends up doing well. This doesn't end well for anyone. On tourism, there's been a steep drop off in international travel to the United States. It was down 12% last month, down even more from Western Europe. Why do you think that there are fewer people suddenly who want to travel to the United States? Well, there could be a little bit, there's a little nationalism there, I guess, perhaps. It's not a big deal. And our dollar is a little bit on the low side. And that means that a lot of tourism is going to come in. But I could see a little bit nationalism at work. And I could see it likewise with us not wanting to go to certain countries. But that will work out very easily. Do you think some people are scared to come here because they hear the stories of tourists who are detained for a few days or even a week or two? No, we treat our tourists great. We're the tourism capital of the world. There's no place like this. And there may be a little bit of nationalism, but I doubt it. I actually doubt it. If you're Canadian, just stay home. Okay, don't go to the United States of Rica. Don't even attempt. Okay, just if you're Canadian and you have a functioning brain with not too much mercury in it, you should avoid traveling to the United States of Rica at all costs. Yesterday, I got denied access in the United States. I thought this was meant for people who are criminals. I thought it was for people who got criminal records, bad people, okay? Not me. I don't know what the heck is suspicious about me, but yesterday I got denied access trying to catch a flight to Florida, okay? Mind you, I did not even want to go. Isn't that funny? Like, in my gut, it felt wrong. Like, I didn't want to go. But I already had plans to pets it, The booking was done, the deal was done. I had to pets it. I was doing it for the pets. But then the agent at Border Control told me that I was taking somebody else's job by pet sitting in Rica, and that the owner should hire a U.S. citizen. I was like, this is not really what you're thinking, because This is a very well-organized website / application where people get to travel and pet it worldwide, in exchange of staying in houses for free. She's like, nah. And what is it again that you do for a living? I'm like, I'm a content creator, UGC and everything. She's like, that's not a stable income. I'm like, actually, you're right, but, I eat. She's like, nah, next time you want to come here, bring your pay stubs, bring your bank statement,
What?
bring proof that you have ties to Canada. I'm like, what do you want? Like my lease or something? She's like, yes, that would be a good proof. In my head, I'm like, I know this bird don't think I'm trying to flee my beautiful Canadian country to go in this Trump-fest ghetto recap. Where they give shit to citizens. Now, what? Listen, at that point, I heard enough. I'm pretty sure she had heard enough. And I agreed with her. She's like, I'm denying you access. I'm like, thank you. Okay? Like, thank you for reminding me that I should not even try to cross your border. Like, thank you for knocking some sense back into my head.
Flying back to Vegas, everybody's got their own room. It's like unreal. So freaking sweet, dude. I'm so stoked. Guys, the new puzzle game. It's like empty, totally empty. It's so crazy.
The White House was recently bragging that border crossings are at an all-time low. Why is that? Oh, that's right. Because no one's coming to America anymore. Our current government isn't exactly the friendliest to people that don't speak the King's English. It's not just illegal border crossings that are down. International tourism in the United States has fallen like a rock. In March, overseas arrivals dropped by about 11% compared to the year before. Western Europe saw a 17% decline. The Americas down 24%. Flights that used to be packed are now running real light. The reason behind these declines is pretty simple. The global perception of the United States has changed recently since the election. His threats, along with horror stories of travelers to the States, have led European nations, along with Canada, to issue travel advisories to the United States. These tourists no longer feel safe or welcome by our current government. This isn't just about the loss of tourism. Those tourists bring jobs, and those jobs are going to be lost, along with tips. And the businesses are going to struggle. Some of them are going to close. Cities like Orlando, New York, Las Vegas are already feeling the effects of the lack of travelers. If this trend continues, the U.S. could lose up to $180 billion in GDP by June of 2026. It's not just immigrants that aren't coming anymore. No one wants to come here.
So, I did a thing today. Actually, I canceled a thing today. Have a look. Yeah. In April, I was supposed to go to New York for a vocal workshop with a bunch of people, and I canceled the trip today. Canceled my trip. I just, as a Canadian, in good conscience, I just couldn't justify going. Now, there's a bunch of different reasons, but I saw what happened to Jasmine Mooney, and I'm seeing videos about when you go to the border, they're checking everything, and I just, my spidey senses just started tingling. And I don't know, call it intuition, I don't know what it is, but there's something that I just didn't feel right about. Not to mention how Canada is being treated, and it sucks. I love New York. It's like one of my favorite cities in the whole wide world, and the people are great, the food's great, the history's great, everything's great. And it sucks. I want to go so bad, and I love all the Americans, the Blue Dots, who have been so supportive of Canada during this time, but I just couldn't do it.
They don't train.
I canceled it today, so here we are. But you know what, New York? In the words of Jonathan Groff of Hamilton, you'll be back. Soon you'll see, and I can't wait. Someday. I'll come back someday, New York. Yeah, cancel my trip.
And there's not a single soul in here. Guys, airports are 24/7. I don't think you've ever seen this in Orlando. This is like one of those busiest. Oh my God, look at this. I could show you down the hallway. Nobody, guys. I have never seen this before in my life. Look at this. The tram, not a single soul. Guys, this is scary. Anyways, guys, I just thought I'd tell you, this is one of those busiest airports because of Disney, obviously, right? Disney. Guys, there's nobody in here. Everything is closed down.
All those stores are shut up. All those stores that sell souvenirs.
I've ever seen this in
All those
my
stores that
life.
sell souvenirs are all closed up.
Guys,
See
let
them?
me know in the comments
With
if you ever
the
seen
plastic on it.
Orlando
See the
or
doors there?
Orlando.
Sell souvenirs. All closed up.
Before. Guys, this is scary. Anyways, guys, I am filming this. Look at this. Look at the tram. Not a single soul. Guys, there's nobody waiting in the hallways. There's nobody in the restaurants. Everything is closed. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of scared. I gotta go. All right. Bye.
Visitors are even being told by their home countries to take their vacations and money elsewhere.
Do you feel like your friends and family feel comfortable traveling there?
No, nobody I know back in England or here. And then the police can take them and just take them to a country outside the States, and then they're not a protected citizen anymore.
Horror stories are emerging of treatment at the border, with one story so shocking it's got many asking if America is still safe.
I think the atmosphere is changing there, so I would prefer to go there. I'd probably stay in Europe.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So tourism season is upon us. And I can tell you what the United States is seeing. The United States is seeing a huge dramatic drop in international visitors to the United States. Now, those visitors contribute millions to billions of dollars of tourism dollars all across the United States, and specifically heavily in Florida, because everybody undoubtedly in Europe thinks that Florida is that Disneyland is the greatest place in the world to go. I don't understand that, but Florida's getting hammered on the tourism end, but it's also across the entire United States. Now, 18 million jobs are in the tourism industry. And when you're starting to lose billions of dollars, what you're going to do is you're going to lose jobs, you're going to lose revenues for small businesses, you're going to lose hotel motel taxes that support some things in local government. So the real deal is here. The world doesn't want to come to the United States, which has always been one of the top tourist destinations in the world. We're going to lose that title this year, and we know who we can owe that to. Congratulations on reducing the income for businesses that rely on tourism.
So, y'all know them travel advisory reports that the United States loves to push out, basically telling us to not go to certain places because they're violent or it's not safe. Yeah, so the Department of Commerce has now issued a report showing a growing list of countries advising their citizens to not come to the United States, to not come and visit the United States. Yeah, now we are not a safe country. So I'm reading from an article that you can find on Forbes.com, right? So it says that the United States government reported a double-digit overall drop in international arrivals last month, with much bigger losses coming from Canada, Mexico, and lucrative Western Europe markets, suggesting foreign tourists are staying away in significant numbers due to the tariff backlash and even harsher immigration tactics. So I'm just going to read off some of these statistics. So in the Caribbean, they have seen a 26% drop from visitors and tourists. Africa, 10% drop. South America, 11% drop. Central America, 24% drop. Asia is a 1% drop. And now the two largest governments, or the two largest European markets, the United Kingdom is down 15%, and then Germany is down 29%. These governments are telling their citizens to not come over to the United States, not visit the United States, in fear that ICE agents will detain their citizens and not bring them back to their native land, which we see is the case here in this administration. If they come here, God forbid, get detained by ICE, ICE will not allow them to prove that they're visiting, will not allow them to prove their visas. They will most likely send them to a detention center and then ship them over to El Salvador's mega prison, just like they did with that teenage New York Bronx kid that's actually from Venezuela. Instead of deporting him to his native country, they deported him to the mega prison. Yeah, that's what they don't want to happen. Because if that happens, there's no way for people, their actual family and their government to even be made aware of what's going on, because ICE agents will not inform nobody. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was actually questioned on this yesterday during a press conference, to which she said, I haven't even seen the report. I haven't even seen the report. As the White House Press Secretary, is that not your job? Is that not your job to be aware and to manage the reputation of the government? Instead, she decided to say, while I haven't seen the reports and I would have to read it in order for me to effectively comment, I do believe that the administration that we're in right now is so much safer and so much better than the one that we were in previously 4 years ago.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know why they would be advising their citizens to not come over here. It's because of this administration's policy and their harsh immigration tactics. That's why. These are tourists that often have to come over here on a visa. ICE agents are not allowing people to even prove their legal status. Why would anybody come over here? Just so you know, the United States makes $2 trillion in tourism. $2 trillion that we're starting to lose now. And that $2 trillion is tied up in the United States GDP, which is part of the reason why the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. That goes down. I think you know where I'm going with this. So now, thanks to this administration and all of its dumb policies, we are facing a possible recession, inflation. The entire world globally is laughing and mocking our democracy and our government. We are now starting to lose profit that we make on tourism. And as a New York City native, I'm not gonna lie, we could use a little less tourism here in New York City. But overall, for American economy, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing at all. Maybe if this administration wasn't too worried with trying to rack up and rally as many free slaves to ship over to that mega prison in El Salvador, we wouldn't have to be dealing with this. Just saying.
This was my experience with being held in a federal prison overnight. Obviously spent the night in prison. I barely slept. I was very anxious. I couldn't have any contact with the outside world, so I had no idea whether my mum knew where I was, if anybody knew that I was being deported. So it was one of those situations where you have no control, you don't know what is going on, and if I'm being quite honest with you, I didn't even know if I was going to get out the next day. I kept having to ask people, like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because I remember just being in this headspace of like, I'm going to be sent somewhere and I'm never going to get out of this situation. Another thing that was really hard for me to comprehend at the time, and it was something that I just was not understanding, was when I was being processed in custody, the officer told me, which was they were part of the jail. So at this point, the CBP officers had left and I was just talking to the prison officers. And he told me, like, don't worry, you're not getting a criminal record, you're not being charged with anything, you're not under arrest. And I remember sitting there saying, like, if this is the case, why am I here for? Like, I'm in prison. I am being cavity strip searched, I'm being fingerprinted, photos are being taken of me, I'm signing documents. Like, why am I being processed in a jail for. Like, what you're saying and my environments, they're just not making sense and they're not lining up. So it was something that was like, that's why when I was in the prison, I didn't believe that I was going to be getting out the next day, because I'm like, well, this is wild. Like, none of this makes any sense. So after spending the whole night in prison, I was then picked up by CBP officers the next day, taken back to the airport. I was handcuffed again and walked through the airport, so the exact same process occurred. And then I was put into a room until I had to board my flight at 12 p.m. I was flying Hawaiian Airlines. And I still hadn't spoken to my family up until a few hours before I boarded the plane. And that was because my family called the CBP office. So after all those hours, no Border Patrol official person had reached out to my mom or reached out to my husband and said, hey, this is where your daughter's been taken overnight. Like, they had not said anything. They have not said a word. There is a lot more that I want to add into these videos, but for now I just wanted to pretty much explain what happened to me upon me leaving the airport and arriving at prison. There are a lot of different interactions that occurred while I was in there, but I just wanted to outline like the process and what happened from the airport to the prison.
The craziest news of the day is coming out of Aria, guys. Aria Hotel and Casino, Aria Resorts. This hotel in Las Vegas really charged their guests $26 for a bottle of water that they put inside the mini fridge in the room. And exact same water sells for just $7 downstairs at Starbucks, or just $4 at CVS, right outside the hotel. And it is 24-hour CVS. You can buy the entire case of water for $10 from CVS. And this guest paid $26 for one bottle of water. And the crazy part is he had no idea how much that water cost. Found out about it after the fact when the mini bar showed up to the hotel to restock. Now he's making them regret, like dragging them all over social media, from Reddit to Twitter to TikTok. Every social media has this one as their top story. Even Las Vegas Review Journal is covering it. It's the biggest newspaper in Las Vegas. He's covering this story. Now you see all these hotels complaining about how tourism is down and and I don't think this is a good business.
Here's some Las Vegas breaking news that hasn't made the news yet. MGM Resorts just told all of their concierge employees across all of their properties, with the exception of Aria and Bellagio, that they are being laid off. This is a couple weeks after laying off the valet, doorman, and bellman at Excalibur, and announcing the closure of the Luxor Buffet. We know that travel and tourism is down. Aside from global issues and the Canadians boycotting us, many Americans fear that we are headed for a recession and they are tightening up their spending. But what's going on at MGM feels a little bit bigger than that. Multiple executives in recent months have resigned or are rumored to be considering resignation, with small downsizings and rumors of more occurring at multiple properties. This is after raising resort fees and parking fees twice in 2024. Fees keep going up and amenities are being scaled back. It feels like everyone's trying to be tight-lipped about this, but I think we need to talk about it. Are more layoffs coming? Is this a sign of the times? Let me know what you think and follow me for all the Vegas.
Okay, quick story time. Went to Vegas 3 weeks ago. It's for March Madness with my husband. Little getaway. We go at least 4 times a year. Leaving on a Friday night is iffy because Vegas is just popping on Friday nights. However, March Madness, Friday night, flying in to an empty airport. Walked right in the taxi line. There's no line. Get in the taxi, ask the taxi driver, where is everybody? He goes, it's been like this. It's been like this for a long while. And he says, it's like worse than COVID. And we went during COVID, and it did remind me eerily of COVID. It was just feeling like I've not been in Vegas on a Monday morning or Tuesday morning. It feels like that, but all the time. You know, it's just very, very empty. And so we were able to get restaurant reservations at the last minute anywhere they want. The tables were like $10, $15 tables instead of being $50, things like that. The platforms to go to dinner if you want to take the tram, like the free tram by the Aria, if you're familiar, completely empty, like eerily only.
Okay, folks, you got a picture. It's getting rough. It's getting rough, folks. So, if you don't have to travel or spend excess money on stupidness, don't do it. Save a few pennies up, and if you don't have to travel nowhere outside the states, just stay inside and enjoy yourself because it's gonna get scary when those folks don't have no jobs, they don't have no money to spend. They can start rioting, they can start stealing. It's gonna get worse, folks. I'm praying it don't, but the way things are going, it's gonna get worse. So stay vigilant, stay aware, stay informed, protect you and your family at all times. Peace out. Lots of love.